Welcome back to Stealth Security. In today's video, we're going to look at some Linux basics. If you don't know Linux, Linux is one of the most popular operating systems in the world. It powers the majority of the servers and cloud infrastructures that we use. And if you are pen testing a company's infrastructure, it's highly likely that they will have at least some of their infrastructure on a Linux server. And also, most of the pen testing tools are made for Linux. There are also dedicated operating systems like Kali and Parrot Linux, which come loaded with all the tools that we need. So as a pen tester, learning Linux is non-negotiable. You don't have to be an expert, but some kind of basic working knowledge is essential. So let's go to the tutorial and let's try out a few commands and understand how to navigate the Linux file system. The first command we should run is who am I. It will tell you what kind of a user you are. There are only two types of users. One is root and the other is the rest of the regular users. If you are root, it means you have full control of the system. Whereas if you are a regular user, your control might be limited. So if I want to switch from a regular user to the root, I type sudo su. Usually it will ask for a password, but since I have access to root in the system, it's not asking me for a password. Now if I type who am I, it will tell me that I'm root. So these are the two types of users. Now, once we've understood who we are, we need to understand where we are. So for that, I'll say pwd, which is print working directory. And it will say I'm in home/stealth security. I know that you can see it already here, but this is not displayed in every Linux flavor that you'll work with. So it's best to know these commands. So the print working directory tells me that I'm in /home/stealth security. What if I want to see the list of files and directories within this directory? I can use the list command, which is ls. So here there is a file called casert.der, then there are some folders. If I want to get some extra information like the file size and file permissions, I can add an extra flag called L to the list command. That will tell me the size, which is in bytes, and here the file permissions. You don't have to understand file permissions for now, it's out of scope for this video, but I'll link a video explaining file permissions in detail. So this gives you much more information about the list of files and directories within the directory that you are in. Now, what if you want to change directories? And before that, what if you want to clear the screen? We can type the clear command. It will make your screen empty. Now, we know that we are in /home/stealth security. If I want to go one level up to home directory, I'll say cd ... which means go back one level. And now if I type pwd, I'm in /home. Now let me look at what home directory contains. Contains debian, hdb, stealth security. I can go into cd, stealth security, which means change directory into stealth security. Now if I type print working directory, I'm in stealth security directory. Okay, so let's go to the root of the Linux file system, which is /. And let's look at the files and directories here. You don't have to understand all of this, but there are some key directories that you should know and what they are used for. For example, we have /var. /var stores logs usually. Let's see what the var contains. You can also use ls command along with the directory to simply list what this directory contains without actually going into the directory. So you don't have to cd into var to understand what var contains. You can simply say ls/var and see what it contains. Yes, it contains backups, cache, logs. It's usually used for logging system information or web server information. If you want to check what's happening within your web server or your general Linux machine, the most likely place you will find the logs is in /var. The next is /bin. Bin contains all the commands that we use, or at least most of the commands, including the pwd command. Then there is, let's see if we can find any usual commands. Yeah, the zip command. So you can find most of the commands that you can use in this Linux system in the /bin directory. So let's clear this. Next is /etc. etc contains mostly configuration files. So all the settings and the host information and what kind of redirect should happen, networking settings, a lot of configuration for PHP or whatever it is. Most of the type of configuration files can be found under /etc. The next we are going to look at is /temp. The temp directory contains temporary files or directories. Usually these are cleared after a certain period of time, and they are automatically cleared by the system. So if you want to store some temporary information when you are running a process, this will be the place. And as we have already seen, /home is where the files and directories of the users will live. So now there are 3 users in addition to root. One is Debian, one is HTTP, and one is stealth security. So we are stealth security. So we can std into stealth security, and I'm not in that, not in the directory. I'm still in /. So let me go to home stealth security. So I'm back to where I started. Great. So now let's look at some file operations. What should I do if I want to create a new file? I'll use the cat command. So cat can be used for 2 purposes. One is you can create a new file, or you can read what an existing file contains. So if you use this greater than symbol, it means you're creating a new file. I'm creating a new file called flag.txt. And I'm saying, hello, I'm flag. So if I type Ctrl+C, I'm out of the cat command. Now I can use list to see if my file has been created. It has been created. Now let me see the contents, which is again cat space the file name, and let's say hello, I'm flag. So this is how you create a simple file in Linux. Now what if you want to copy and create a new file? I'll use the cp command and say flag.txt. I want to create a new file called flag1.txt with the contents of flag.txt. So if I do ls, I can see there is flag1.txt. And if I want to see the contents of flag1, it has the same contents of flag. So I've simply copied the contents of flag.txt into flag1.txt. Now what if I want to move or rename? So move and rename are the same as far as Linux is concerned. So if I simply want to rename this file flag.txt into flag2.txt, I can say mv flag.txt flag2.txt. And if I type ls, our flag.txt has disappeared. We just have flag2.txt, and it should have the same information as flag.txt. What if I want to move this to another directory? It's mv flag2.txt. I'm saying ... which means go a level up, which means into home /flag2.txt. Now we will see that flag2.txt will have disappeared. If I type cd ... which means go a level up, and type ls, you can find the flag2.txt here. So I hope this helps you understand how we can move the files to different locations. Let's go back to stealth security. And what if we want to remove a file? It's rm flag1.txt, and it's gone. Great. So now you understand basic file operations. The next is processes. You can use the top command to see what are the running processes in the system and what kind of CPU and memory they're using. It will give you the user who's running the process and also how much percentage of CPU and memory is being consumed. If you want a simpler list, you can say ps aux. It will give you a simple list of all the processes and their memory usage, instead of giving you like a running information that you have to keep watching. So let's look at some networking commands. The first thing that you should definitely know is ifconfig. So ifconfig will give you the list of network interfaces that your system is connected to. And this is a great way to find the IP address of the system. So there'll be multiple. Some of them are virtual. This one is loopback. You don't have to worry about all of those. Look at the T10 in most cases. Here it will give you the IP address of the system. So this system's IP address is 10.10.14.15. Okay, so the next command you should know when it comes to networking is ping command. So ping command helps you understand if a system is up or if you are connected to the system. For example, to check if you are connected to Google, we can simply say ping google.com. Yeah, it's connected. It's saying 64 bytes are being transferred. And this is also a great way to understand the IP address of a target. For example, google.com's IP address is 142.2.1.40.206. If you want to try scanme.nnat.org, which is a server available for us to scan, we have permission to scan that. Let's see, scanme.nnat.org. The IP address is 45, 33, 32, and 156. You can also use an IP address, ping 45, 33, 32, 156. So this means the system is up and we are able to connect to it. If you don't get in response or if you get a timeout, it means that that server is down or it prevents you from connecting to it. So ping is a very important command, and you will use it very often to check the status of a system to see if it's up. And especially when it comes to working on our labs, if you want to check if the target system is up and running, the first thing you will do is use the ping command with the IP address. So let's look at one final command, which is history. So history will give us the list of all the commands that we have run till now. So usually if you get access to a server in a pen testing scenario, and if you want to see what are the commands that are being run by previous users or even the root user, you can simply type history and it will give you all the list of commands. So this is also a very important piece of information because usually when you gain access to servers, you can see maybe there are some complicated operations run, there are some backups, and even some people are not very careful. They even put passwords in the command line, which means it will be recorded in this history. So history is another useful command. If you want to clear history, you can simply say history-c. It will clear the history. To type history again, the only command I should see is history. So I hope this video helped you to understand some Linux basics. Linux is extremely useful and it is non-negotiable as an ethical hacker that you should know at least some level of Linux to get around the file system. And all these things that you have seen in this video is more than enough to help you get started in general Linux environments or even in one of our labs. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you think this video was useful to you, do share it with your friends. I'll see you soon with a new topic. Cheers.